My girlfriend demanded I buy her a luxury handbag, saying, "If you really loved me, you would." When I refused, she stormed off and blocked me. Months later, she showed up at my office, begging for help after her new boyfriend took all her money. I smiled and said, "If you really loved me, you wouldn't have left." My girlfriend told me, "If you really loved me, you'd buy me this $3,200 handbag." I said no. She blocked me and disappeared. She worked part-time as a makeup artist and also did some content stuff online. TikTok, Instagram, whatever. She was into aesthetics and fashion. Always scrolling through designer brands. "Like, really want it," I said. "Sophia, that's a whole paycheck." "More than that, actually." She stared at me like I just told her I hated her. "But it's my birthday. And it's not just a bag, it's an investment. These things go up in value." I said no. Just like that. Calm, polite, firm. She didn't take it well. She got quiet, stood up, and just walked out the room. About an hour later, she came back in and said, "If you really loved me, you'd buy me that bag." I looked at her, and something in me just shut off. The way she said it, like love was a transaction. I told her, "I do love you, but I'm not buying a bag I can't afford to prove it." She walked to the bedroom, grabbed her coat, and left. Blocked me on everything that same night. Instagram, Twitter, iMessage. She even unfollowed our mutual friends. She was just gone. The first few weeks sucked. I didn't chase her. I wasn't going to beg someone who ditched me over a stupid purse. But it still hurt. We lived together. Slept next to each other every night. She met my parents. And she walked away just like that. I started piecing things together after the fact. Mutual friends told me she was seeing someone new already. A guy named Caleb. Real estate guy. Flashy. Big truck. Watches. Always posting gym selfies and champagne brunches. You know the type. Apparently, he slid into her DMs before we even broke up, and she left me thinking she was leveling up. Fine. Let her go live her luxury life. I poured myself into work. Took overtime. Got promoted. Moved into a better place in the Alberta Arts District. Slowly got over it. Fast forward about 6 months later. I'm at work. It's a Tuesday afternoon. Rainy. Typical Portland day. I'm in my office at this tech consulting firm downtown when the front desk pings me on Slack. "Hey, there's a woman asking for you." Says she's a friend. Didn't have an appointment. I was confused but told them to send her up. It was Sophia. She looked nothing like she did before. She was wearing the same coat she left in. No makeup. Hair a mess. Bags under her eyes. She looked smaller somehow. Just tired. I didn't say anything at first. Just stared. She gave me this weak little smile. "Hey." I leaned back in my chair. "What do you want, Sophia?" She sat down without asking. Started tearing up. Said she needed help. Her story spilled out in pieces. Apparently Caleb was all charm in the beginning. Treated her like royalty. Bought her things. Took her on trips. But then, he started getting controlling. Told her to quit her side jobs. Said he'd take care of everything. Got her to open a joint account. Even had her sign some stuff she didn't fully understand. And then, one day, he disappeared. Took everything. The account. The apartment. Her phone plan. Her savings. Even her old laptop. Just gone. She didn't know where to go. Her parents were in another state and didn't support her lifestyle. Friends had started backing away. She had nowhere else. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and said, "I made a mistake." No shit. Then she said something that really hit. "I thought he loved me. But he just used me. And I thought about you. About how you never asked for anything. You just cared about me." I stared at her. And said, "If you really loved me, you wouldn't have left." She went silent. She knew. She knew exactly what she had thrown away. And the best part? That Louis Vuitton bag she wanted so bad? She never got it. Caleb promised it to her too. Even used that same line she used on me. If you really love me, you'll prove it. She got played using her own game. She just sat there in my office like a soaked stray dog, waiting for me to throw her a bone. I didn't say anything else. I wasn't angry anymore. That's what surprised me most. I thought I'd be mad, but I wasn't. I was cold. Like a switch had flipped. The part of me that used to love her was gone. Just done. She had nothing to offer now. No pride, no luxury, no high horse. Just her and her bad choices. I just need a place to stay for a while, she said. Just until I figure things out. I don't expect anything long-term. I leaned forward. And why me? She looked away. Because you're the only person who ever actually cared about me. I didn't respond. I let the silence sit. She kept talking, like if she explained more, it would make sense. I know I messed up. I was stupid. I got caught up in the money and the lifestyle. But none of it was real. He never cared. He just wanted control. I thought I had it all figured out, but I lost everything. I asked her one question. What happened to your friends? She bit her lip. They said I made my bed and now I have to lie in it. Sounds about right. She looked up at me. Please. I stared at her, and then did something I didn't plan. I said she could stay for one night. That was it. I didn't offer a bed or a warm welcome. I gave her the key to my old apartment, the one I'd already moved out of, the one that was mostly empty except for a mattress on the floor and a working bathroom. She didn't even ask why I had kept the lease going. She just took the key. As she left my office, I called the landlord and told him not to extend the lease. That place was getting cleaned out at the end of the week anyway. She had 4 nights before she'd be standing in the street again. Now here's where things got strange. A few days later, my buddy Marcus calls me. Says he saw Sophia on Tinder. She listed her location as downtown Portland and her bio says looking for someone real this time. Bro, she's trying to hop right back into it. I wasn't even surprised. Not really. But I was curious. So I made a burner profile and matched with her. No name, no face, just something generic. She messaged first. Hey there, smiley face. We chatted a bit. She told me she'd just gotten out of a bad relationship and was looking for someone generous and kind. I asked her what she meant by generous. She replied, not looking for a sugar daddy lol, but I definitely think men should know how to treat a lady. The rage didn't come. Just that cold feeling again. She was already trying to start the same cycle. Guilt, charm, cash. So I kept talking to her. For a week. As the burner. She never figured it out. I told her I had money, a nice condo near the waterfront, worked in finance. I painted the picture she liked. She got really into it. Said she was ready to meet. Meanwhile, I'd also found out that Caleb wasn't some big-time real estate guy. He was renting flashy cars, faking listings, and scamming people. One guy even filed a police report after Caleb talked him into a fake investment. He was being investigated, and guess what? Sophia's name was on some of the paperwork. Not as a scammer. More like an accomplice who didn't ask questions. I didn't tell her I knew that. I just said, let's meet for drinks. You pick the place. She chose this rooftop bar in the Pearl. Fancy. Expensive. Of course. So I showed up early. Sat where I could see the entrance. Then I watched her walk in. Dressed to impress. Hair done. Makeup perfect. Wearing a tight red dress like she hadn't been sleeping on a mattress on the floor 3 days ago. She scanned the room for her mystery date. I never showed. I texted from the burner. You look beautiful. Shame you wasted it. She replied. What? I sent a selfie from my real phone, taken right then and there, from a table she hadn't noticed. Her face dropped when she saw it. She walked out fast. Didn't even look for me. That night, she didn't go back to the old apartment. Next day, I drove by. Her stuff was gone. I didn't know where she went. But I had a feeling it wouldn't be long before I heard her name again. A week went by. I figured she'd disappeared again, probably couch hopping or finding some poor fool to latch onto. I went back to my routine, work, gym, the usual. I'd let it go. At least, that's what I told myself. Then I got a call. It was from an unknown number. I let it ring out. They called again. And again. Finally, I picked up. A deep voice on the other end said, "Is this Derek? Who's asking?" "This is Officer Ramirez, Portland PD. We're reaching out regarding a woman who listed you as her emergency contact. Sophia L." I froze. She was picked up downtown, disoriented, sitting outside a closed restaurant all night. No ID. No phone. Said you were the only person she trusted. I didn't say anything. "Can you come down here?" I hung up. I didn't go. The next morning, she was gone from the station. Vanished again, like fog. But that wasn't the twist. That was just the warm-up. That same week, I got a notice from my bank. Suspicious activity. Someone had tried to access my account using my old login info. It didn't work, two-factor authentication saved me, but they tried to reset it 3 times. I asked for the IP and traced it to a coffee shop near the old apartment. Same one Sophia used to work at sometimes, before she got too busy for part-time jobs. I was furious, but also weirdly impressed. She'd kept my info? After all that? I reported it, changed everything, locked it down. Got LifeLock. Whole 9 yards? I was done, for real this time. Until Marcus texted me at 2 a.m. on a Saturday. "Bro. You sitting down?" He sent a screenshot. It was Sophia. On Instagram. Not under her name. New alias. At the Portland News. She had rebranded herself as some kind of lifestyle influencer. Her bio said, "Healed. Hustling. High vibe only." Photos of fancy food, gym selfies, rooftop bars. Like nothing ever happened. Like she hadn't been near rock bottom weeks ago. I looked through the comments. All fake. Bots, most likely. But the captions, those were real. One of them said, "Some people only love you if you let them control you. Watch how fast they run when you stop being convenient." I knew that was about me. Another said, "Grateful I walked away when I did. Some men will never be able to keep up with a real woman's energy." It was like watching a snake shed its skin and pretend it was born that way. Here's the twist, though. Remember Caleb? He got arrested. Fraud, theft, fake real estate listings, impersonating a financial advisor. He's facing serious charges. His name hit the local news, along with pictures of him in cuffs. And guess who showed up in one of the photos? Sophia. She wasn't being arrested. But she was right there, trying to hide her face in a hoodie, standing behind him. She claimed she was just a friend, caught in the wrong place. People started digging. Someone from the Portland subreddit posted a full timeline of Caleb's scams, and Sophia's name came up. People recognized her. Some even came forward and said she introduced them to Caleb. She started getting comments under her posts. "Didn't you scam that family? Weren't you part of Caleb's sting?" She turned off comments. Made her page private. Changed her name again. She tried to erase it all. But she couldn't erase me. Because I still had the texts. The DMs. The pictures. Proof that she was more involved than she claimed. I didn't post them. Yet. Instead, I started reaching out to people she had hurt. Quietly. Carefully. One by one. Some had lost money. Others just wanted answers. I gave them what I had. And I waited. Sophia thought she'd slip through. Thought she could rebuild from ashes she lit herself. But sometimes, the past doesn't stay buried. Sometimes, it digs itself out. I knew what I was doing. I wasn't just being helpful to the people she screwed over. I was building something. Collecting proof. Watching. Letting her get comfortable again. I didn't want to strike while she was down. That would have been too easy. I wanted her to climb just high enough to think she was safe, think she'd reinvented herself again. Then I'd push. One guy I talked to, his name was Malcolm. He was an older guy, owned a small bakery. Said Sophia and Caleb convinced him to invest in a property that never existed. $15,000 gone. He was the one who pushed the police to look closer at her. Turns out she signed something for Caleb, claiming to be his assistant. Her signature was all over it. I gave Malcolm everything I had, messages, screenshots, dates, voice notes. He brought it straight to his lawyer. That opened the door for more victims to press charges. And now her name was in the reports officially. Sophia went quiet. Her Instagram vanished. The Portland Muse brand was wiped clean. One day she was posting photos of croissants and crystals, next day, gone. Like she never existed. I thought that would be it. Thought maybe that was enough. But then she did something that flipped the switch one final time. She showed up at my new apartment. It was pouring outside. I'd just gotten home from work. She was waiting by the door, soaked, shivering, eyes hollow. "Please don't slam the door," she said. "Just let me talk." I didn't say anything. Just stepped aside and let her in. She stood there in the hallway like a ghost. "I know everything's falling apart," she said. "And I know a lot of it is my fault. I wasn't honest. I was selfish. I didn't know what I wanted until I lost it. I see it now, Derek. I really do." I leaned against the wall. Arms crossed. "I'm scared," she whispered. "Caleb's gone. The cops are after me. I don't have anyone left. You were the only real person in my life. Even when I treated you like shit, you were still decent." I almost felt something. Almost. But not enough. Then she reached into her purse and pulled out something I wasn't expecting. A necklace. It was mine. The one I gave her for our first anniversary. A simple silver chain with a little compass charm. "I kept it," she said. "It was the only thing I didn't pawn." She held it out to me. Her hands were shaking. "I don't expect you to forgive me," she said. "But I need help. Just help me stay out of jail." I looked at the necklace. Then at her. And then I said, calm as ever, "You didn't come here because you're sorry. You came here because you ran out of options." She looked down. "You played people," I said. "You used them, used me, and when it all fell apart, you thought maybe I'd still be stupid enough to care." "I do care," she started. "No, you don't. You care about not losing. You care about not suffering. But you don't care about people. Not really." I walked to the door and opened it. "You need to leave." She didn't move. I pointed. "Now." Her eyes started to fill. But not just with sadness. With rage. "You think you're so righteous," she said. "But you let me back in. You kept talking to me. You wanted this. You're no better." She was right. In a way. I didn't help out of justice. I helped because I wanted revenge. I wanted to see her squirm. I let the door swing wider. "You're right," I said. "I wanted to see you burn. And I did." She walked out without another word. The next day, the news hit. "Local woman charged in real estate fraud case linked to known conman." Her face was blurred, but I knew it was her. The article said she might face up to 5 years. Maybe less with the deal, maybe more depending on what she gave up. People online were connecting the dots. Some recognized her from old brand deals. Some from her influencer stuff. She couldn't run from it this time. I watched the whole thing unfold like it was a movie. But this time, I wasn't in it. I was just the guy in the audience. A few weeks later, I got a letter. Handwritten. No return address. It said, "You got what you wanted. I hope it was worth it." It was. But here's the thing. I wasn't innocent either. I fed into it. I could have let it go. Could have moved on. But I didn't. I chose to dig. I chose to twist the knife. Revenge feels good. But it leaves a bitter taste. I still walk past that rooftop bar sometimes. Still remember her in that red dress, looking for someone who never showed up. She wanted someone to prove they loved her. I proved something else entirely.